Alright guys, it's Royal Enfield about to drop the sickest cafe racer since the 60s. Should Triumph be worried about it with their new Speed Twin? Stay tuned, let's find out. Alright guys, before we dive into the rumors and the spy shots on the Royal Enfield Continental GTR 750, let's talk about why I'm even talking about it. So to be honest with you guys, I was never really even into the cafe racers or the style or anything like that, but after getting the Papio SS and then the CFMoto CLX 700, both of those having clip-ons, both of them also being naked bikes with little to no wind protection, you know, it just kind of started, I started getting it, you know. I started liking the whole naked bike feeling, and I've always wanted a retro style bike in the garage to add to the collection. And with that being said, you know, like probably everybody watching this, you know, I've considered the Kawasaki Z900RS, the cafe edition of that, and we all know Kawasaki's reliability, and that bike is a gorgeous looking modern retro in its own right. But I've also looked at the Triumphs, and with the Thruxton no longer being available in the States, you know, it's up to the Speed Twin from Triumph to fill that void, and that is a gorgeous looking bike in its own right too. And I've also stumbled across the BMW 129T, I believe what it is. But the problem with the BMW is I don't like that boxer engine layout. I'm not a fan of that. That bike looks gorgeous. The I don't know, the Orange Crush, whatever color you want to call that, you know, it's a gorgeous looking bike. But when I'm riding around town, you know, I've ridden past this Royal Enfield Continental GT650 a couple times that's in town. You know, he or she, whoever owns the bike, they pop up in different spots, and I'll see them coming home or just out and about doing my own thing. And I always find myself saying, you know, man, that's just a good looking bike. You know, it's simple, it's clean. And if anything that this CFMoto CLX 700 has taught me is that, you know, having gobs and gobs of power and torque doesn't always necessarily mean fun. All right, guys, now with that being said, seeing that Royal Enfield just really spiked my curiosity, and in looking for a modern retro bike, you know, I started going to the Royal Enfield website and looking at rumors and upcoming stuff, and just happened to stumble across this GTR Continental 750 and these spy shots that have, you know, I think these are probably, everybody's probably seen them by now that's interested in it, but there's these shots that show the testing of it. And then there's also a 3D rendering of it as well. And what makes this one special? Well, they're bumping up the engine size to the 750. It's going to have the fairing on it. There appears to be twin discs for brakes on the front of it. There's the rumored TFT screen that I believe is already on the Himalayan. That might be on there as well. And then there's cast alloy wheels on the bike in the spy shots, which probably, you know, obviously mean tubeless tires. So it's shaping up to look like a real contender, especially when it comes to the price point, because we all know Royal Enfield is more about affordability and is cheaper than the Kawasaki, you know, the Triumph, the BMW, of course, you know, and any other retro style bike you might think of that's out there that I might not be aware of. But yeah, guys, drop your comments down below. If do you own a Royal Enfield? Have you had experience with them? Do you know about the reliability? Are they easy to work with, fun to work with? Let me know your thoughts. Are you excited about this bike that's coming out? We'll probably see more about it around November, I imagine. There is one concern that I've seen where people are talking about the horsepower due to the A2 license for, you know, our friends across the pond. They're worried about the horsepower. I think has to stay under 50 or something like that for that type of license. You know, y'all correct me down below. But with the current 650 is like what, 648 cc, something like that. So hopefully with the more cc, you know, we should see over 50 horsepower on it, and you know, I'm hoping 40-50 foot-pounds of torque. hopefully in November, you know, we'll find out. Now I know we all have our dream bike, our 200 horsepower sport bike, or our, you know, tricked out CVO Harley, or, you know, over the top Indian, whatever the case may be. But sometimes, you know, it's just nice to get on the lesser horsepower motorcycles and have that relationship, you know, shifting gears and just being more in tune with the bike, you know, because I hop on my Ninja and ride it around town, and honestly, you know, it's staying first, second gear, and it's like, it's kind of boring when you can't use the full bike, you know, without having to worry about getting in trouble. I know we all want the super bike in the garage, but I often ask myself, if you had a bike such as the Continental 650 or even the upcoming 750 GTR sitting next to your H2, your H2SX, your BMW M1000RR, which one would actually rack up the miles? And, you know, I gotta say, it's probably going to be the lesser horsepower one. Just my opinion, just my take. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think down below. All right, guys, make sure you tune in next week. Next week's Memorial Day weekend, we'll be taking the Ninja out to Panama City Beach for some steak and shrimp. We got a 270-ish mile one way there, so we're looking at doing just over 540 miles in a day. So tune in for that trip, and if you like what you see, hit that like button and subscribe. All right, stay safe, ride safe. We'll see you on the next one.